So, are we ready for the next session? I know it's hard to concentrate because it's hot in here. Oh, so we wait 2 minutes? 2 more minutes? Okay, okay, so I see. So, dear liberal colleagues from all over Europe, also very... Okay. Also very warm welcome, hot welcome to Vienna. To be honest, you have already realized I've not been using my English for quite a long time. So therefore, I really put all my ideas and things I want to share with you into paper, that I'm not missing anything. Because I have the honor now to tell you our NEOS story. And I'm really proud to say this is a story of success. It all started in 2012. And the number 40 has to do something with our start. If you have been really listening carefully to what Josef said, you already know what the magic number 40 means. But I will disclose this secret, if you don't know, a little bit later on. But before I start, I will introduce myself. My name is Indra Collini. I am the head of the party the spokesperson in Lower Austria, which is here. At the moment we are here, which is here. Lower Austria is the biggest county, the biggest federal state in Austria, not even in the area, but also in votes. Therefore, Lower Austria is very important for NEOS. And also when we look at our voters, we have a lot of urban voters, which means it's in Vienna and on the belt around Vienna, which is growing. So Lower Austria is very important for our votes as well. I'm as well at the head of our delegation in the regional parliament. We faced the regional elections last January. It was the first time for us, and we entered the regional parliament with 3 seats. And this is my team. In the meantime, it already grew. These are my colleagues. So we have two seats, two women and 1 man have the seats. And Christina, is our managing director. Yeah? So we have a lot of women there. So that's what I'm saying, I'm missing some women here. So, but in the meantime, we already grew and we already more. My original profession is not politics. So I studied business economics, and in my past life, I worked for the fast-moving consumer industry. I was in marketing and sales. I led business units there, and I also built up my own business. And since last January, when we entered the regional parliament, after the successful election, now my main profession is politics. But before this milestone, before we had this milestone, before we entered the parliament, I supported NEOS on a voluntary basis for 6 years. So we built up the structure in Lower Austria on a voluntary basis for 6 years. And in this time, we also had our communal elections already 5 years ago, where we have been successful without money. That's another topic I will talk about. So, maybe you will ask yourself, why is somebody doing this? Building up a movement 6 years without getting any money for that, besides a quite demanding job. And where do you take the power from? I think that's a good question. But the answer to this question, that's my personal NEOS story, and the reason why I'm in politics at all. I'm a mother. I have 2 kids, they are 12 and 14, and I was very, very, very frustrated about the political system in Austria. There was absolute stagnancy. No one had the balls really to start the reforms needed, till now, I would say. There was a standstill in the educational system for, I would say, nearly 30 years. and there was an overbearing, which still is state. And as you have know since the Ibiza video, have you all of you seen it? The Ibiza video with our vice chancellor Strache. There is a lot of institutional corruption also in Austria. You don't believe it, but it is like this. And I was thinking by myself, Austria is such a beautiful country and such a wealthy country, and our parents and our grandparents, they really worked so hard that we have all this after the world wars. But which possibilities do my children have? That was a main question for me. And I had a lot of discussions around these topics in my living room, even with leading politicians. And all of us, we knew what is to do. We knew what was going wrong. And when I asked the question, now, what are you going to do exactly right now? All of them said, you can't do anything. And I could not accept that. I didn't want just to watch any longer what was not happening. And I think it was my personal point of maximum frustration when I met, that was my magic moment, when I met Matthias Strolz, the founder of NEOS. And he was so inspiring for me with his totally different view how politics should work. He was so convincing that I was convinced, and I decided to support Matthias and his ideas with my network and with my personal engagement. This was 6 years ago. So I entered the NEOS ship quite at the beginning of the movement, and I think this is also the reason why I am asked today to tell our story. And it's a story I'm going to tell you. It's a story about passion. It's a story about blood and sweat. And it's a story about the most successful political startup Austria had ever seen. I will tell you the story how to build a party and to build it up successfully. And I will tell you this story in 7 magic chapters. But before we start, where it all began, and I will tell you a lot about the beginning, because as I realized already also with your questions with Josef, the beginning was really the basic, it was the fundament, and we laid so much there, which is still relevant and so important for NEOS right now. But before we start in 2012, and with the figure 40, I want you to show where we are now, and I have a video for you, and I just hope it's working, but I don't know how. Können wir auf den Stick gehen? Sonst auf dem Stick ist es drauf. Link is not working. Da war das mit dem Untertitel bitte. Untertitel, das oberste. Sorry. So inspiring, because it's our story. No? Yes. Sound. This was a short wrap-up. This where we are now after 6 years, and it all started. It all started with passion and idealism. Politics is made from human, with human, and should be made for human. I think that this sentence, it describes very good the vibes of our beginnings. And attention, now I'm disclosing the secret around the figure 40. The beginning was in February 2012. And there were 40, I think maybe crazy people, men and women, who started our movement at a 2 days workshop here nearby Vienna at the Kreinerhütte, that's the name of the place, in Lower Austria. They gathered and started the initiative. And so maybe this group was crazy, but you know, the ones who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones that do. And this was the beginning. They were people, and that's also the difference. They were no politicians. They were people from real life. They were real people with real concerns. And all of them, and that was what united them, all of them were strong-willed to leave the position just as a viewer and to tackle politics. All of them were driven by the shared passion to change Austria for the better and to renew Austria. And this was also the moment there at the Kreinerhütte with these 40 people. This was the moment where the fire was lit and the idea was spread all over. When the people left there, this idea was spread all over the country very rapidly. From the 40 in the beginning to 6,000 all over Austria within a few months. All of them wanted to support. They wanted to do something. They wanted to help. All of them in Austria, they could feel it was like a wave, that there was really something big to come. It was really like a fire. And they wanted a lot of people wanted to be part of it. We had no money at all. But we had a lot of passion in the beginning and still have. And we had a lot of know-how, and that also helped very much in the building up of the party, because there were consultants, entrepreneurs, managers, political advisors, lawyers, brand specialists, advertising agencies. There were advertising material companies, and so on. And there were people with experience also in campaigning from 3 different parties who supported us pro bono. A lot of them supported us not just pro bono, but enabled us to save tremendous costs just in the beginning. In this 2 days workshop, and this is also, I think, a very crucial element, we defined our common understanding, this is still our common understanding of politics. For us neos, politics is the place where we agree on how we live good with each other. That means we have to talk to each other. What's a good life, and we agree on how we're going to do it. And this place, we were sure, that needs to be renewed and revived. And this is still our leading sentence. So in the beginning there was the passion and the idealism, but that's not enough, you know. The next steps was the founding and the grounding phase. All this positive energy that was there, this energy, these positive vibrations, they have to be canalized. And it was quite soon, it was clear that idea that was floating around, because in the beginning it wasn't sure if we're going to found a party or not. But after a few weeks, it was sure. Yeah, we will found a party. And to found a party in Austria, that's also interesting. In Austria, it's very, very easy. Frank did it, maybe he did it at the same time, maybe you heard already his name. He is an Austrian-Canadian multimillionaire, but also, yeah, Peter did it, Bernadette did it, Ahmed did it. More than 1,000 parties have been founded in Austria in the last decades. And besides the Greens and Neos, no one of these were able for a sustainable breakthrough. So forming is formally easy. The real challenge here, or the real challenge at all, is to survive. To found NEOS, that was also an interesting story. We decided to establish a straw man because we had already made our experiences. Because if you're in public too early, the enemy, he's warned too early, and he will try everything to put bricks into your way. And we learned this weeks later that this was really a good decision to go with a straw man, because the system really tried to defend on a quite shocking way, starting with job dismissals, tax audits, cancellation of loans, up to death threats. There was a lot our leading heads was faced with. They tried really strongly to stop us, really. Ask Matthias, his credit loan was cancelled. Or Sepp Schellhorn, our economic speaker, he had in all his companies, he had tax audits. It was really hard in the beginning. Yes, and Matthias, he had a death threat as well in the beginning. So, but this treatment, it missed its goal. It did not stop us. The opposite was the fact. This treatment, it pushed us additionally, in our opinion, that Austria really needs something new. So back to the founding process, on the 10th of August 2012, our party, the name there was Das Neue Österreich, the New Austria, has been registered. And on October the 27th, 2012, we had our founding convention here in Vienna. There were more than 250 people. And by the way, this event, this was my entry point to NEOS. I am here, the one who is talking in the first row. And I was so enthusiastic there at this, to feel the spirit of NEOS, that I registered membership right away. It's the first time in my life I was member of a political party. And the inspiring founders, those men and women who are there, they did not just inspire me. Very rapidly, there were more and more and more of us. But how did we spread our passion? We made in the beginning more than 200 NEOS at home evenings. Have you heard about that? It's a, do you know the Tupperware evening system? Yes, we did the same with political discussions. In the beginning, we even named it Tupperware parties, but Tupper told us to stop it because of branding topics. So now we name it NEOS at home evenings. And what did we do? We asked the people and told them, make a political discussion in your living room. And we came into the living rooms and started political discussions again, all over Austria. What did we do as well? We had more than 150 information events in bars, in restaurants. We had live streams from all our conventions, so everybody could watch what we are doing. We had a very intense social media communication, and this was also the time when social media started with a hype. We had street activities, we did flash mobs, and we had hundreds and hundreds of personal conversations. It was like a fire. And everybody who met us could feel they really want to change something, because they are real people from real life, and that's also the difference. They are authentic. And we made fellows at every level, opinion leaders, journalists, supporters, and at the end of the day, voters. What else do you need after founding and grounding a party? It's also about money, and it's also to be about professional. When there is a lot of idealism, there is a Prejudice, Vorurteil, that this goes compulsory hand in hand with chaos. But this is not true. Especially we had a unique combination from idealism and professionalism due to the manifold know-how within the people we had inside our organization, inside our movement. There were so many people to help that our vision comes through. And this combination from idealism and professionalism, this was really a crucial point that we could fight successful election with very, very, very small budgets. We often heard then, in these days, that it's not possible for a new party to win an election without any VIPs or with a budget smaller than 5 million euros. But we proved that the opposite is possible, and we prove it still from election through election, because we always have very small budgets for our campaigns. But it's not all about the money. The most new parties, they fail because of the biggest challenges, and we also had this topic around with Josef. The biggest challenge is to lead a party, because especially when you have a bottom-up movement, it's incredible social complex, the people you have there. You have different positions, you have individual ambitions, you have economical constraints, you have internal political games. You have the dynamics of the day-to-day business. Do you have personal friendships? And you have difficult personalities. Just to name some challenges you have to manage. Our founder, Matthias Strolz, he was a systemic organization developer. I don't know if you know this. And NEOS was always backed with his know-how and with these tools. And he also brought a model into our organization that really helped to solve, to manage this complexity. It's quite easy, the model. It's in fact quite simple. It just shows that you must have a constant focus on all the 3 poles, and of course these poles are interdependent. You need to have a vision. It means you need to have content, topics, positions. You need to have the structure, the structural organization, as well as processes. And of course, you need an organizational culture. That means you need internal rules and you need internal communications. It's a complex challenge to bring a political party to life, but it's even more complex to survive. And therefore, this integrated view helped a lot, because you don't have to take a look that all this is always in balance. You also need the capacity to watch what is going around you, what's happening around you. If you just believe it's enough to have a strategy, you will lose. If you believe you can just do with money, no way. If you think it's all about marketing, you will not win and you will not survive. If you want to build up a sustainable organization, especially in such short time as we did, this integrated view was a really very essential tool that helped us. There were more tools we used to secure. There were more tools that we had. We made a lot of workshops, and all of the workshops we made, they were led really from professional coaches. We really took in external know-how. Very often they did it pro bono for us. Self-reflection, to realize blind spots, is also a big topic and still is. Feedback routines that the organization can learn. We implemented, and after every election, 2 days after election, I'm sitting together with my team, and we are really checking what went good, what went wrong, what do we want to keep, what do we want to improve, because this is when the information is fresh. This is the most important thing to do. They always make a development turn, a development loop. We did world cafes, we did bar camps, we did open spaces to work together with big groups. And we did even, and I don't know if you know this, a systemical organization constellation. Is this the right word in English? Okay, yeah, in the beginning. So really not typical tools you use in a political party. Yeah. And regarding the money, we were the first crowd-funded political party in Europe. In 2013, we nearly raised 1 million from more than 3,000 citizens. And crowdfunding is still an essential part when we are financing our campaigns. But it's not all what you need. You need content. And you need values. People are electing attitude. They elect characters. And of course, they also elect with regard to content. Already at this two days workshop at the Kreinerhütte, we all agreed. When we are going public, we want to present our program. And of course, we wanted the public to know what we are standing for. You think that sounds logical? Not necessarily. At the same time, we had Frank Stronach, this Austrian-Canadian millionaire here, entering the political market. And he found a party. He spent millions like water. He gathered a lot of adventurers around him. And he announced to deliver his program later, because he was the program. By the way, this party, it was a fleeting star in the Austrian parliament, and it's not existing anymore. For us, this way was absolute nonsense, and in some way it was even alarming regarding our democratic understanding. What we then started was, I think it was the biggest participation process Austrian has ever seen in development of political positions. We had 14 workshops from 40 up to 250 people. We had various online consultations. We had citizen councils in all 9 federal states. We formed more than 20 self-organized task forces on various topics. All of them, all of these people, they wrote, and we have it here, they wrote our program even before we were a political party. Why did we do this way? First of all, we knew that we need a sustainable content basis when we want to deliver a real contribution as a party to the country. But second, and that's even more important, we also knew, and these are the topics we had before, we knew that the glue of our movement is a common vision and a common target and confidence. And confidence you cannot buy. You can just work on it. We did not choose the Frank way. Money wasn't available anyway at that moment. But that was available was our will to build a base that exists much longer than the election date. Because we knew there are so many different people around, it's the better way to have your disputes before the election than afterwards. So we wanted a sustainable base, and this common struggling we had in this process to our common positions, this was crucial for that. We had the debates before and not afterwards. All in all, we invested 250,000 hours of voluntary, that's also very, very important, of voluntary work in our plans for New Austria, and thousands of citizens were involved. And we also defined our 5 core values. These values are deeply embedded in our DNA, and they are still our guidelines for our day-to-day acting. We are freedom-loving. We believe in personal responsibility, sustainability. We are appreciative, and we are authentic. And additionally, our approach is evidence-based, solution-focused, and our processes and our finances, they are transparent. That's what Josef already told before. We are the most transparent party in Austria. But as important as content is by the end of the day, we had to design, and Josef also pointed out this, we had to design when is the right point to stop working on this, because it was a lot of energy we invested in this program. And you know, a lot of people even prefer more to talk than to do something. So there was really this crucial point where we had to switch the organization, because we did not want to die in beauty, and we wanted to win the first election. So therefore we had to canalize all this energy we had before in here, all this energy and emotion. What did we do? We started the Pink Vibration Tour in summer all over the country. We were on streets. We told the people, go to the streets, go to the marketplaces, go in front of the bath. Our crowdfunding activities, they reached a new peak with hundreds of new donators in this time. And then we had a big supporter who doubled this. This was great support. We had more budget for communication we ever expected. And in September, we had our Pink Revolution Tour. And what we learned there is nothing else is beating as strong as the heart of a volunteer. The number of people who want to support us, it jumped up. We really were unstoppable. We pinkified Austria on the streets and on social media. And on the election day, on the 29th of September, the wave had its peak. We won, and we entered the Austrian parliament with 9 seats from 0. The program and the values is one, but then we were inside the parliament. What did we do then? The next step to do was the topic. It sounds interesting for a political party, doesn't it? Marriage. Because this first nationwide election we did this with a platform. There was NEOS, there was the Liberale Forum, which was a liberal party who could not re-enter parliament, and there were also the Julis, the young liberals. So the beginning, because we decided better a strong election to put all our forces together, and it's better to have a strong election platform with various initiatives than splitting up. So at the end we had a list really with candidates from all these 3 parties. But after our entry in the parliament, we made a decision, and this was also a crucial factor of success. We decided to form one common political party. And the LIF and the Julis, they're willing to integrate it under the NEOS roof. So we decided for marriage, which is very rare. Marriage parties in Austria, the opposite is the rule here. I don't know how it is in your countries, but here is the rule that parties usually split up, which is usually not a role model for success. So we wanted success in our first try, and therefore we decided to go for this. And very fast. Marriage and integration. So and that's what began then and is still our topic now. It's how to come into structure and how you handle growth. As I already said, we are the most successful political startup in Austria. In the last 6 years, we had to tackle with 5 nationwide elections. 3 of them parliament, one of them in front of us in September, one of it an additional one, 2 European elections. We had 9 regional elections facing the 10th election in October. Every second year we had elections in universities, and we also had numerous elections on the communal level. So for this small organization, it was and still is a huge challenge. We had a lot of hits, that's true. We are already in 5 regional parliaments within these 6 years. Some things did not work out as expected. I think that's normal, and these experiences are also the chance to learn. But we are always on the way forward. We are growing steadily, step by step, And now at the last election, the European election, we had the best result ever with 8.44%, and we gathered more votes than we ever had before. But are we already a grown-up party now? Josef said something like this. I don't think so. I don't think so. We are on our way out of adolescence, and by keeping the good quality of youth, we have to, how can you stay new? But we are still not a grown-up party. Why? Because everything went very fast in the last years, and these many elections with this small organization, it's very difficult to get stability into your organization. But we are growing, so we are on the right way. We are growing and growing in our structures in all levels, in all regions. And finally, you know, a party is a multi-personality. So what do I mean? You have the mothership, you have the political party, you have the parliamentary group. We have party organizations in 9 federal states. Some of them has delegations in regional parliaments, some of them don't. We have the political academy here. We have an European office. We have many groups in towns and villages. And this is huge in that short time. But what keeps us together, and that's what I said in the beginning, what keeps us together is this strong base that we laid in the beginning. It's our program, it's our value, and it's still the overwhelming will of the people joining us. This overwhelming will to renew Austria. And it's of course the organizational frame we gave us in the beginning, our rules, the rules how we are acting. And we also still try to create linking elements whenever it's possible. For example, when we found our office, our main office over there at the Neustiftgasse, we were searching for a name. How shall we name this baby? And we did this with our crowd intelligence. We asked the people there, how shall we name our office? And there was a lot of suggestions, a lot of great suggestions, and we did a vote. And the name of our office is Neosphere. And in all county now we have a Neosphere. So we do all the time, we try to make such elements that keep the people together. And we also made some structural interventions to professionalize our organization. As I already told, we established general manager in each federal state. And this person reports also to the head office in Vienna. And this person is also responsible for the implementation of the national elections in the region. And another crucial factor of success, and that's what we had here before, is the ability to manage this tension between wide participation and leadership. And that's really a very difficult point. But we were convinced, and I think you as well are also convinced, that modern politics needs new forms of participation. And we NEOS showed how you can do this, how we created our program together with hundreds of people all over the countries. We also have been the first party in Austria and still are with an open and online-based voting system for our election list. Also, this was totally new what we did here. But on the other hand side, you need somebody who is taking the full responsibility. You need somebody who's going ahead, somebody who is leading the way. So you really need clear leadership. And we always managed, and I think that was Matthias Strolz did this very well. We also always managed this tension. And when you really are able to manage this tension is also a chance for energy and for creativity when you can do this. Matthias could do this, and now we need a second video. And Beate, our new leader, she can also do this. Ja, das. It was a very, very, very important day for NEOS. It was the day when we elected Beate Meindl-Reisinger. And we really, and the change, the leadership change was there. And this leads me to my final chapter. What we managed there was really transition at its best. When our founder, Matthias Strolz, announced last spring to leave, I have to be true, we were shocked. We were at the peak of success. We just entered 3 regional parliaments. Leaving now, Austria was shocked because no one usually is leaving when everything is doing so well. And especially in politics, you usually have to push them away from their chairs because they are old, but they are still clinging on their power. But our internal shock lasted, I think, just 2 days. Because after his declaration from Matthias Strolz at our all-staff meeting, we understood him. He declared very openly that he's tired. After 6 years of blood and sweat, and after 6 years not seeing his kids growing up. And we knew we already have a stable base, and there are a lot of good people around at NEOS, and we could feel it. We will make this. And at this moment, something magic happened. It was a short irritation, but this short irritation delivered a lot of very, very special energy in our own organization, because the whole organization was sure we can do this, and the whole organization was sure we all will support Beate and give our best. We managed this transition phase without disruption, and which is not common in Austria. I don't know, it is in your countries, but in Austria, usually at the ÖVP, the People's Party, they usually make a putsch. The socialists always, they have a chaos when there is a transition phase, and the Greens, they slip from one professional arrangement to the next. But we did not lose a single point in the survey when we did this. And I asked our general secretary what were the 5 crucial points from his side of view that this taking over from giving over from Matthias to Beate worked out so well. I want to share these 5 points with you, his answer. First answer was, who else when not she? It was clear for a long time for a long time that she is the right person to follow our founder. And that helped. That really helped, because we had no discussions about that. There was a perfect preparation and scheduling. Matthias did it by himself, with his part of the organization, and we had the script in our hand, the internal script and the external script. There was no message that was not designed from us. Third point, transparency and communication. All steps they took, all steps have been communicated really in details, internally first, as well as externally. There were common performances with Matthias and Beate, with clear messages, and that really generated confidence internally as externally. And there was point 4, there was a clear cut within a few months. There were no double leads. And the last and final point is there was a development of a unique profile for Beate, and immediately after taking over, we started with a communication campaign. Also we really did it like in a Bilderbuch. What's a Bilderbuch in English? It was really a perfect taking over. So here I'm coming to an end, but our story goes on. In retrospect, it's always very easy to write a strategy. In retrospect, you know what you did wrong and what you did well. Not everything we did succeeded as we wished. Money, time, and the still small organization was and still is a challenge. But in the end, it does not matter. Also the mistakes we made, because we are growing steadily. We did make no big mistakes. That's great for us. We had no splitting ups. And our organization is learning very quickly. And I really believe this is this systemical approach that Matthias brought inside the organization, the approach which is not used in political parties. And this broad know-how we have in organization, because we are not traditional politicians. We are entrepreneurs, we are managers, we have various experiences that really supported to bring up this organizational part of the party. We had the best result ever at the past European elections. Also women, Claudia Gamon, yeah. She entered the European Parliament. Now we have an upcoming election in September. It's hard for us because it's again an election. The organization is a little bit tired, but we are also, again, we are already inspired, because at this time the window for NEOS is open very wide, and we all can feel it. It is really a big chance. So we are still giving the best. We are still motivated to reach for the stars, and you know, the fortune favors the bold and the brave. So we know for sure fortune is always on our side. And there's FT Pride in Vienna at the moment. I don't know if you have seen it. I just want to close with this colorful picture of freedom and liberalism. If there are any questions, it was long story.
You mentioned that you earned $1 million. That's true?
Nearly. We are always doing a lot of different things. We have our members. We always ask our members to support. We do crowdfunding activities on social media. We use our newsletters and ask for people, but we do also things like you can, also in Vienna we did this, Vienna made a beautiful carpet with stars, and you could buy a star, and so you are a tile, part of a bigger thing. We use all of our events. There is no event, no information evening where we don't have our transparent boxes with us. And all of us, we are going for money. I don't hesitate to ask everybody. First, I always ask, you can support, we need support at street activities, and then people say, oh no, I have no time. I say, oh, that's no problem, you can also pay. This works. We have a network of entrepreneurs who help. We have lists. We call when it's like that, and we always have a bigger spender who do things like doubling actions. So, for example, Hans-Peter Haselsteiner, a big supporter, he said, okay, you have to do the first 300,000 by yourself, but when you reach this goal, I will double this. And we have people, they do it with 10,000, with 20,000, but it's both. A lot of small activities, but to be honest, you need the big spenders. You need really a bunch of people who is willing to spend 10, 20 or 30,000. And you have to build up just this community. That's hard work. It's like in sales. talking, writing letters, calling. At the moment, there is no limit, and that's a problem at the moment also in the Austrian legacy, that they want to put a lid on the height. For us, it's really a problem because we are really transparent. On our homepage, you can see all our all our incomes and outgoings. On our homepage, all our donators, and we don't have special constructions where we park our money. The established political system does. They have tools where they park the money so that they don't have to fulfill the legal frame. So, and for us it's really a problem because we show everything, but everybody knows who is supporting us, and it's really, if you believe that somebody is buying a law with 20,000 euros, it's like nobody will do this. So we are transparent. And for us it's really a problem if there is coming a lid.
How many party members do you have now after 6 years of?
That's a good question.
work?
I don't even know. There on the presentation there was a figure on the movie 2,500. In the movie there was a figure, but I think that's not valid anymore because in the last weeks we had this big scandal here, this Ibiza scandal with our vice chancellor, which So and from this time on, we have a huge run, really a huge run of memberships. So at the moment, in front of the upcoming elections, we are rapidly growing. I don't know, maybe we have 3,500, but it was never a topic that we are going to be a member party. So we never tried to force the people to support us to be members. So it comes by itself at the moment.
You said that you had a few hundreds of volunteers on the streets, and how do you ensure the consistency of the message, that you will not have a few dozen guys just telling a complete different message because they are more conservative or more progressive? Or
That's a good question, and that's really not easy to organize. But with just the last election, the European election, we really showed that we can do also this. We were very, very early with our positionings, with our FAQs. We share them on a very early stage with the people. We start right now for the upcoming election. We start with trainings so that they can also learn how to argue on the street. And when there are new people coming to help, we try to organize like that. We will also do some movies in the future to learn blended learning. And what we also try to do is when there are new people coming to support on street activities, we always put one guy or a woman with them who is experienced to show them how it's working.
I must be honest, I'm a bit skeptical of the impact of the street nowadays. The volunteers on the street, how impactful they are, and I'm trying to look for people to convince me otherwise, truly. What do you think it was the impact of the volunteers on the street? From a perspective, I don't know, how many votes did you have in the last European elections?
I just can tell you the figures from Lower Austria. We had more than 200 street activities in Lower Austria. That means we were in all bigger cities at least once, twice, 3 times. And I think that the impact is high because you have visibility there. Otherwise, people don't see you. And I even believe it's one of our strengths going on the street, because all of the people going there are volunteers, and we are really not this typical political type of people on the street, and it really makes a difference because all of us just have the ability to talk with people. But it's not all, I think, to be successful in the elections. So we did a lot of other things as well. But we see when we watch the figures that being visible on a marketplace has an impact as well. Especially when you have regional and communal teams in the city council, because they also need this space for the next election to the city council. Yeah.
Thank you very much for the presentation. That was really amazing. And again, you started chapter 1 with passion. You had a lot of passion, so congrats for that.
Still have.
Yeah. I mean, if after 6 years you have this kind of passion, and you are definitely on the right track. Now, a couple of things that I wanted to figure out better. So you mentioned this general managers at local or regional level. I mean, if you can explain a little bit. So basically, that position is an administrative position or a political position. So if you can explain that, and maybe I can put a second question.
This is not a political position, because I don't know how you are organized in the region. We have, I don't have an organigram with me. We have in each region, federal state, we have the head. In Lower Austria, that's me, a spokeswoman or spokesperson. I'm responsible for everything there, the political topics as well as the organizational topics.
So you are a general manager of the region?
I'm a general manager of the region as well, but I'm also the political face outside. I'm also I'm at the head of the delegation of our fraction there as well. So I'm doing both.
And you've been elected?
Pardon?
I've
been elected, yes.
Okay, so there's a political.
But I've both. I'm elected from our members to do the political part, okay, the organizational part, and I'm elected from our voters for the political part. We have in every federal state we have one Landessprecher.
Member of state parliament and member of the board. So it's
yes.
Okay,
yeah.
So it's both the political elections in the land, and
yes,
then it's also you are in the party, in the board of the party,
yes,
right?
both.
True. And then the administrative stuff, it's something, I mean, do you have paid staff at the level of the region?
Yes, now we have, because we entered parliament and we have regional parliament, we have money. And then usually you have 2 units. You have the party unit, and you have the fraction. Do we say Fraktion? Was it fraction? And then you have the fraction. 2 different units. The fraction makes the work for the regional parliament, and the political party is doing the political part, which means, in our respect, building up the structures we need.
And you are basically coordinating the administrative work of the paid staff that it's actually securing the administrative work for the regional level, right?
For this party part,
Yeah.
we have this general manager.
And
She is coordinating this
Okay.
for me.
Okay.
I'm a lucky position. I have a general manager, and she is doing all this organizational coordination
And
stuff.
how do you do the split in terms of funding? Because that's actually one of the debates that we have right now in Romania. How much money should remain locally, and how much money should be going centrally? Do you have a split?
At the moment, we don't have a split.
So
We
how
have
do you do fundraising? For instance, you have probably national campaigns, you have regional campaigns.
everybody for everybody. When now at the moment, I know I have no chance for fundraising for my communal elections in January, because we are all running for the nationwide election in September. That's how we are doing it.
So you are raising money locally or regionally, and then
Yes.
there is a proportion of that money that goes centrally.
No,
So you are keeping
It's
all the
not.
money.
no, we have a common goal, and we are raising money for this common goal. So
So you are getting money.
when I don't have when there is no election, I can keep the money I raise. I
100%.
can always keep the money I raise. But we don't do this.
Okay, so when you have a goal, each of the regions is contributing to that particular goal, right? And then from that basket, they are giving you money back to run the campaign?
We are trying to optimize within the whole system, because we have regions, we have counties, they have no money at all. Where they are not in the regional parliament, there is no money.
Okay.
So we try somehow to support.
And how, for instance, the NEOS lab, I mean, how do you fund that? Do you have a special legislation related to party foundations?
Yes, this is totally separated from the rest of the political party.
Okay.
And there is a quite strict legal side,
Yeah.
what they're allowed to do and what not.
So the European legislation that applies in each of the member states, is that the one that you're using?
We have a national law.
Okay.
The Publizistikförderungsgesetz.
Okay.
So for, and you are 100% publicly funded. But a very
Publicly
100%.
funded. Okay.
Only so as soon as you have 5 members of parliament, you have the right to found, you have a party foundation.
Good.
And then you have a specific quota, it's a little bit complicated, but you're publicly funded, but a very clear split between educational and academic and think tank duties and party duties. So we are not allowed to co-fund any campaigns, any
Clear.
party.
This is very strictly controlled.
Yeah. We have it similar legislation in Romania. And last question, the neospheres. I mean, the neospheres that, I mean, the local structures that you said you are branding them as neospheres. Did I remember correctly? The places, yeah. Neospheres. Yeah. So do you have? I mean, do you have a design concept for that? I mean, do your headquarters look the same, or is just the name, or do you have a branding for that?
It's just a name. It's just a name for the regional headquarter. No branding, because always depends on how many money. Then we have regions, they have no money, but they have a spender who is supporting with rooms. So as we had here in the beginning as well.
That's actually quite interesting, because I mean, for me, it rings the bell that we can actually do this kind of design-based new type of headquarters that would actually be branded in a particular way. And for instance, we had this thing called the political cafes, you know, and to brand this kind of stuff as our structures in order to get directly in relation with the citizens. So I mean, that's why I asked if you have when that
Sounds nice. Everything is pink inside. But one answer to a question regarding funding. There is a split. We give 10%. Usually we give 10% from every euro we are gaining.
So there is a split.
Yes,
Okay.
but it's not really relevant, because like now when we have a nationwide election. We just collect money for this election. We don't keep anything. We are one NEOS still.
Okay.
Although there are so many entities.
Yeah, in our case, we have campaign actions. That means that you put the money together and send it centrally for the purpose of the campaign. And then you have the usual money that comes, and then you have a split. And the percentage of the split depends on different type of rules. Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to. Okay, our colleague is not here anymore. I mean, the street work is actually very, very useful. I mean, in Romania, I think that this was one of the most. Yeah, this one was one of the most important things. It's not about the number of people that you are talking. It's about the presence and the branding and the fact that people are seeing you. If you are doubling that with live streaming each day on that, then you are actually going to be very, very visible. And if you don't have access to mainstream media, basically this is the only way that you can actually do it. So, and if you are coupling that with canvassing, so not just, you know, giving leaflets, but doing canvassing and gathering micro data, we are in a digital world, then, I mean, the kind of leverage that you can have is enormous. I mean, it's really, really amazing. So right now we have a lot of data that we've gathered in the European Parliament election campaign, and we want to actually go back to the people based on that data and, you know, boost our identity based on the needs that people have addressed locally. You know, that's actually.
Regarding canvassing, we did the experience in this election. We did a lot of telephone calls. That was really evident that helped, because for canvassing you need a lot of people. So that's not easy. But for phone calls with a guideline, you can really do a lot.
If yesterday the Progressive Party from Slovakia say us they called 17,000, we call in our campaign 250,000 for the European election. We call 250,000 and we get over 2 million votes. And all this database we took from the street. They discussed, we had the app, a very nice app we made, and we took this database. In politics, without database, you cannot exist.
Nationwide elections in September, and in January we have again communal elections. At the moment we are in 23 cities, and we want to at least double. Yeah. In the European elections we were. It's at the moment it's very, very difficult to say, because all the polls and surveys we have at the moment, that this data at the moment is not valid, because everything is so mixed up in the Austrian politics after this scandal. It's all about the votes we get, first of all. So we need to gain a lot, which is not easy. Yes, and we need the coalition, the right topics. It's always about the content. It was just no one can we had just this platform on the first time, then we integrated, but we are good in alliances as well. That was also in the last nationwide election we had Irmgard Gris. She was Oberste, highest lawyer, head of laws, highest court in Austria. And she joined us, but she is not NEOS, she's not even a member, she is an alliance partner. And this is something we always were very good in, to go with such alliances. And we also have the opportunity to do this now, but we don't know now yet. These things our members decide. So maybe, yes, maybe there is a suggestion that for such alliances, and then the members decide at our next assembly. I don't know yet. It's too early.
In terms of the main political proposals or policies, I mean, if you put your first three policies that you are promoting in your campaign usually.
our real strength is that we are the opposition party in Austria because there is nobody else than us. And we can do this really very good.
Yeah,
So
so you are
that's-
against someone, but I mean, if you are to list the 3 things that you are proposing, I mean,
The classic liberal things are this. It's freedom, it's democracy, it's the Rechtsstaat,
Yeah,
rule of law. Then we have these topics like education politics is still a big topic for us. And we are the party we are the only party, not the Greens, they are coming again, for the next generation. Who is thinking for the chances of the next generations? Generation. Yes, yes. We have a very high percentage on young voters. Okay. Thank you very much.